Well, happy to have this guy on, as we always are, and happy to give us a few minutes of his time during the most important part of his season. It's 13-time Big Ten Coach of the Year, 13-time Big Ten champion, pretty darn good golfer himself. It's Mike Small. Mike, thanks for joining me, and thanks for the time.
Thanks, Jeremy. I appreciate it. It's the most important time, but it's also the most fun time too.
That's right. And I know this team probably has been pretty fun. Like, I mean, 7 of 11 tournaments you guys have won. I know you knew this would be a good group, but what's it been like to see this through so far this season, to get that Big Ten championship, and especially in such an emphatic way?
It has been a fun season. I mean, I knew we'd be better than last year. The guys all improved. We were good last year too. We finished the season ranked 17th in the country. It's not like we had a bad year. We just didn't make it to the finals for the first time in a long time, and that left a little bit of a bad taste in their mouth. And I knew they'd work hard and get better. And then when you add a player, you add a piece to the puzzle, added some depth, you knew we could be better. And then the first event of the year is Olympia Fields, which is one of the top events, top 3 or 4 fields in all of college golf. We finished second to Stanford. You knew something was up. And then we played pretty solid really most of the year after that. We played down to the level of our competition a couple times, and we've played up to the level of our competition a couple times. But I think we've worked on that, and we've tried to get it to where we just hit our standard and play how we need to play every time, no matter who we play. And I think we've shown that the last few weeks.
Well, Mike, 13 Big Ten championships, 8 straight. I know this doesn't get old for you being such a competitor, but I'm sure each is different. Does each bring a different feeling? And how does this one sit with you after sitting on it for a few days?
It does. It does. They all bring different feelings. They used to be 72 holes. Now they're 54 holes. So they're more of a sprint now. Back when it was 72, generally the top teams just kind of eventually worked their way to the top after that many holes. But now it's 54, and it's more of a sprint, and that doesn't always happen as often. So as a coach, if you think you have a good team, you're always a little apprehensive that maybe somebody could sneak up there and play well and get you. And that's kind of the truth about a 54-hole event. And so as a coach this week going into it, I knew we were the best team there. I think everybody did too, but that didn't guarantee you anything in a 54-hole match, especially when you go to a new golf course and weather that was predicted to be horrible. And weather always equalizes everybody. It's hard to kind of separate and move away when you have bad weather. So, yeah, I was a little apprehensive at times, but our guys played solid. And when you have depth, it kind of equalizes that apprehension maybe a little bit. And I think that obviously that was a big part of it.
Obviously you wanted more depth. I mean, I've talked with your guys about that. They just didn't feel like maybe they had the depth last year. So to add Matisse Bassard, to see Jackson Buchanan kind of, start to reach the potential that you thought he could reach when you recruited him. Pearson Hunt, I know, has had some ups and downs, but he's kind of seemed to settle in as the season goes along. How do you feel about that depth going into the part where you really need it to show up?
Well, I feel good about it right now, but as you know, in golf, you never really count on it all the time. You hope so. You prepare. You explain to them that nothing is guaranteed. And golf is such a fleeting sport. I mean, anybody that plays it knows it can just come and go whenever you least expect it. And that's the world we live in. That's why you have to get really good as you can be, so your downturns aren't as deep, or your valleys aren't as deep as they used to be. And that's what you try to do in this sport, in this level and above, in professional golf. You got to have your bad days as good as can be. Who has the best bad? Who's bad is best usually determines who's there at the end of the year. Now, anybody can win any tournament in golf. You have guys that can come out of the back end of a tournament and win, and somebody least expected or least regarded can win any week. But over a course of a season, you look obviously at consistency and how good your bat is, and that's kind of what we tried to do. And you can't fight the odd weekends, but you can practice and train and prevent them from happening too often.
Speaking of their bad being the best, I mean, your 2 fifth-year seniors, or the 2 fifth-year seniors, been here the whole time with you. Adrian Dumont, Chassart, sorry, and then Tommy Kuhl, of course. I want to bring up those 2 guys, but let's start with Adrien. He's one of the most accomplished athletes that Illini Athletics has had. When you look at, all the awards he's won, 3-time Big Ten Player of the Year now, what's led to that success for Adrien?
I think he's just a well-rounded individual. He's very mature. He takes care of his business. He's probably been one of the most low maintenance players, excuse me, low maintenance players I've ever had.
Hmm.
He gets his work done. He's not flashy. He's not he's not one of these guys that just kind of gets in there and kind of wastes time. He's just all business. And when that happens, in life, you're going to have a better chance of success. And plus, you add that with some talent and some ability to get better. He was good as a freshman. We knew that. And I could tell he had the intangibles his first semester here that he was going to be good. But he wasn't polished. He needed to tighten things up and continue to improve. And he's done that. And it's been a gradual climb. It hasn't been a meteoric climb or a very steep curve, maybe like Tommy's been the last couple of years, but it's been more gradual. And that's his personality, though. This trend, his improvement curve matches his personality.
Yeah. And then Tommy Kuhl, Morton kid, dreamed of playing for the University of Illinois. As you said, Mike, it's been more of a gradual climb. So what's led him to be one of the, whether it's top 25, top 15, whatever rankings you look, what's led him to that point?
Tommy, you're talking about now?
Yeah, Tommy Kuhl.
Yeah, he wants it so bad. He's a golf nerd to the hilt. I mean, he is but at times he can go full tilt too. I mean, he can get off the deep end and get really panicky and get really worried because he wants it so bad. So you got to calm him down and get him more like Adrien, if you will, and a little more just I'll be okay, I'm fine. Confidence, just inherent strong confidence inside. He's gotten a lot more confidence because he sees how good he can play, but it needs to be more consistent. But his rise this year has been probably the biggest key to our team. Is that his maturity and his results? I mean, he's top 10 or 11 in golf stat, I think. I don't know the exact number, but I mean, he'll be an All-American, and he's deserved it. He's played that well to do that, and that's when you put two guys like that on a team. That's if you look at our teams in the past, we've been number one in the country a couple times going into the postseason, and we've had a duo or sometimes a trio that are really, really good. I think one year we had three All-Americans, but when you have two All-Americans, any team in the country has two. Your chances go way up, and that's what you have to have.
Well, Mike, you earned a number 1 seed in the NCAA regional. You're going not too far. Eagle Eye Golf Club in Michigan. The elephant in the room is you guys missed the opportunity to get to the NCAA championships for the first time since 2007. But talking with Tommy, talking with Adrian a couple of weeks ago, like you can tell that's fueling them. So how do you feel about is that a good thing that they're thinking about that? How do you keep that as a coach from being a negative or putting pressure?
I think it's a good thing. If you have a positive atmosphere and a culture that's accountable and tough-minded, I think it's good to be reminded of what some of your stumbles were and how that gets back in your craw a little bit and bothers you. Now, if you have a weak, fragile team that's kind of up and down and doesn't really have the substance to deal with it, I think you want to stay away from that. But when you got a team that's hungry and mature and kind of PO'd about last year, and they have some confidence and they can flat out play, I don't think it's a problem to remind them once in a while. I think that's something that they need to be aware of.
Well, Mike, a clear and realistic goal of this team, the standard you guys have set is we want to win a national championship. What makes this team capable of contending for that?
Well, I think I think I've talked about our average or our standard has gotten pretty good this spring. That increases our chances. We still have to play hard every day and play poor, hungry, and determined every day like we haven't got anything yet and still searching it out. Our depth is a big deal. But you can't win the national championship now unless you get to the match play portion. Mm-hmm. And I saw an article this morning when I was just hanging out here early that there's been, I think the number 1 team in the country has had 9. I think Oklahoma State has 9 trips to the match play. We're second in the history with 7, and Texas is second. But Oklahoma State's only won 1, I think, in those 9. So it's not like we're unique and 0 for 7. I mean, it's just how the matchups happen, who you play, because you're not reseeded. I think if you got reseeded after match play, based on your national rank, wherever you fit nationally, I think that would lead to a better national champion. But you're seeded based on how you played those 3 days that week or 4 days that week, and so seeding's a big deal. And then once you get the seeding, then you got to get the matches, the pairings good, worked out. And that's always a crapshoot as well. And then they got to go out and play a game of golf, which is so fleeting. And an 18-hole match, when normally all year we're deciding a winner after through 54 holes. Now we're deciding a winner through 18 holes in a whole different format. So it's just a different animal. So I think to answer your question, we have the team to get to match play, and then we just got to ball it and get after it hard and don't look back and then see what happens.
Yeah, I think you've talked about this before, Mike, but I get that the drama of match play is unbelievable for people that want to watch golf. But it's kind of like the NCAA tournament in basketball that this system doesn't always award the best team over an entire season, but it's entertaining to get there because you guys probably have a championship if it's determined by stroke play, I think.
Yes, well, we do. We would have the 4 rounds one year. We would have won it, and we would have had a national championship under the old format before, like 11 years ago. I think it changed or something. But yeah, it's just the way it is. People love watching. The Golf Channel wanted to come do college golf, and the only way Golf Channel would come televise college golf was if it was a match play format. So that's why we changed. TV changed us, changed the history of the direction of the national finals. And I agree, it is better to watch. It's more fun. It brings people to the game. TV helps the coaches, helps the players and their brands when they move on. There's a lot of positives to it. But like the NCAA basketball tournament, it doesn't really identify the best team. That happens a lot in the NCAA basketball. Is it more fun to watch and exciting, the upsets? People love the upsets, but it's just not the most exact way. And that's the world we live in, and we got to figure out a way to do it.
Mike, in the early 2000s, when you're taking over this, I don't even think you could set something like an 8-peat as a goal. Like people would think you're insane. But I'm fascinated by how successful people have success. So what approach to just your job has led to success for you and Illinois golf?
I get asked that a lot, and I don't really reflect on it a lot because I've been training myself to think in the present so much and not in the past. But it's like, I'm trying to think how we do this. And I'm not a big planner. I'm not a big guy that sets the stages for practice and what we're doing this week and next week, and then what we're doing next year and how we did it last year. I'm not a statistics guy. I go for my gut. I just go by my gut every day. I know where I want to be in the end. I know what kind of culture and what kind of vibe and what kind of energy I want around our program daily. And I kind of just jump on, just change on in mid-sentence and maybe do something different that keeps and maintains that vibe and that energy. And I think you expand that into the week and the month and then the semester and the year, and it's just kind of perpetuated itself for 20 years. And the kids do it. The kids have grabbed on to the energy and the vibe of the program, and they've embraced it, and they haven't pushed back on it. And it's kind of just built itself and grown. And I've just done it by the way I was raised, by the way I was in the culture I grew up in, my experiences as a professional golfer, getting to the PGA Tour. And a lot of it is my experiences of losing my card on the PGA Tour and what I wish I'd done differently. So those kind of guide me to where I want to go with the team every year. But I don't have a plan and a formula that says I need to do this and that, and it's very structured, and it's not analytical at all. It's just a free moving gut reaction to what happens daily, and I just trust my instincts, and it's worked out well. And again, what I've thought when we had a 5-peat going earlier, in the thing, and I thought that was a lot. And then we were number 5 in the country. We got beat by Minnesota, I think in 2014, which is the only time we've lost in the last 14 years. And we were 5 and they were like 70th in the country. So that always sticks back in my mind that, you can get beat anytime, any place, it's a weird deal. But then to go on and get a 5-peat again and now move it to 8, you can't plan on that stuff. You just got to trust in your instincts, trust who you are, trust in your players. There are times when I want to micromanage. There are times when I want to worry about things and I think, oh, this isn't going right. And sometimes you just got to sit back and say, you know what, I got to trust them. Yeah, I got to trust the guys. I got to trust the process. I got to trust our culture to come out on top, and then it'll end up okay. And I'm getting better at that, and I think that's something that we have to continue to keep doing.
Mike, I've talked to you, I think, a little bit about this before, but I often get asked about it. How long Illinois can keep you? How long you want to do this? So, is there anything else you want to do? Like, is there? Because I know professionally you're really good, Mike. I'll leave that open ended for you. Like what is left on your
I'm starting to think about that, Jeremy. I'm starting to really, at my age, I'm 57. I'm starting to think about that. I think when anybody hits the late 50s, 60s, you think about where your life is going to go. How much time do you have? What do you want to do with certain things? But right now I'm very happy, very comfortable right here doing what I'm doing. I mean, hanging around 19 and 20-year-olds every day keeps you closer to 19 and 20, even though my age gets older every year and theirs stays the same. I still feel young, which is great. And it's fun to win. It's fun to compete now, and we always guard against the downfalls. That's why we had a stretch. We like we talked earlier, there's always we try to maintain that. And it's something that's very important to us. And as long as I'm enjoying that and enjoying the kids, and I think the kids are getting something from me and a benefit from our program, I'm going to keep doing it. But if I feel there's a slack off, or the kids aren't getting what they deserve, or I can't relate to them anymore, then you make a change. But there are other things I like to do. I'd like to maybe expand my horizon someday instead of just be a golf coach.
Mm-hmm.
I still like to play. When I play 2 or 3 days in a row, I start getting into it again, and I really enjoy practicing and getting better, because that's how I was. That's the core of my life as a professional golfer. And I still played while I've been coaching. So it's helped me in my job. It's been a huge asset to be able to play while I coach. Those days are kind of getting smaller and smaller because the job is expanding, but also I'm getting older. But when I go play, I like it.
Mm-hmm.
But when I don't play for a day or two and it goes, I could not play again. It's where I don't miss it. I can go a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I don't miss it because I'm so busy. But when I play again, I want to do it. So I'm gonna have to choose one of these days what I want to do, right, and stick with it fully. But to answer your question, yeah, I think it's just human nature to think about what's coming next and what are you going to do. But I think a coach's heart and desire truly lies in, are his players happy? Are his players getting benefit? Are they having success? And as long as that's happening, then we're going to keep this thing rolling.
Mike, last one I got for you. Brett Bielema, Aaron Henry, Ryan Walters had to be so happy to see Devin Witherspoon go number 5 in the draft, and those other guys get drafted and reach their professional dreams. So for you, like when you see Nick Hardy win a tournament, what is that moment like for you as a coach?
Oh, it validates for him. I'm happy for him. It validates all the work he put into it. He's worked hard, and this is something he's always wanted. I think he has a lot more wins in him. It's no different than when Thomas Pieters won his first DP World event over in Europe, the European Tour. He's won 6 of them since. And when I was in the Ryder Cup with Thomas Pieters, he had me go up to Hazeltine with him that week and be his coach that week, and be inside the locker room and the ropes, just to see that and see him gravitate to the best players in the world and compete in the Ryder Cup as a coach makes you happy. It makes you feel like you've added some value to it. But since day one, I've always told these players, it's their career, it's their job, it's their progress. It's not mine. And I'm not a coach that's going to sit and take a lot of credit for that. I don't want to do that. I think to a large extent, players make coaches more than coaches make players. And that's kind of the mentality I've had. Maybe that's why I relate well to the players, because it's not all about what we do as a coach. It's about what the players do. And to see Nick win, he deserves it. I mean, he deserved a break. He got it. He capitalized on it. Now I think he's going to be able to continue to work and grow, and I don't think he'll get complacent and fat and happy with an exemption to your exemption. I think he'll parlay it into something bigger and better. And, we've had a lot of guys have success on the PGA Tour. Even Luke Guthrie had success for 5 years and is fully vested, and Scott Langley and all these guys. And, when Brian Campbell got his PGA Tour card, that was a big deal. But to win on the PGA Tour is a whole nother level, and couldn't be happier for him. And it's just something that I know he's wanted very badly.
Well, Mike Small, Illini Golf continue their Big Ten dominance, and they start the NCAA play here coming up next week. Mike, always appreciate the time and insight, and good luck in the postseason.
Likewise, Jeremy. I enjoyed talking to you too, man. Thanks.